Alright, welcome back ladies and gentlemen to another cooking video with this bowl of what looks to be mush right here. It is actually our leftover pulled pork. We've been eating on it for a solid week now. We have all these leftovers. You're probably wondering what to do with it. I'm going to show you what to do. Let's get right into it. Alright guys, first thing we're going to do is start off with cutting up our tomatoes, but we got to clean them first. We're going to use a paring knife here, and we're going to pop the top of the stem out. Put your thumb on the tip of the blade, and you can actually put it in just a little bit, so you can get right underneath the tomato stems. Go ahead and do it for as many tomatoes as you need. I'm going to be using 5 tomatoes. Now that they're all done, make it a lot easier for you guys. We're going to go ahead and grab our next ingredients, which we're going to have to clean, is going to be our jalapeno peppers, and we're also going to need 1 red onion. Now, some people use white onion, but I still kind of prefer the red onion and the flavor of that. Next thing we're going to do is clean the jalapeno peppers by removing the stems and seeds on the inside. Now, some people prefer to use a larger knife when cutting, but for the purpose of cleaning any fruits or veggies, I still prefer to use a paring knife to avoid any accidental slips with the blade. For removing the seeds, you can simply take your paring knife and slide it into the membrane holding the seeds and lift the handle to remove them to avoid cutting yourself. It makes it a lot easier. Just toss it right in the trash. Next, we're going to slice the jalapenos into thin strips and then come back the other direction to make small, easy dices. A small disclaimer, when dealing with any kind of spicy pepper, remember to keep your hands away from your face and eyes, because that will hurt. So make sure you wash your hands after handling them. Now we move on to the onion, and we'll start by removing both the top and bottom sides of the onion, slicing it in half. Now it's easy to peel the outside layer off after, and I'll show you how to easily dice an onion. You start by making thin cuts into the onion that don't go all the way through the end. Leave about a ½ centimeter at the end that's uncut. Then we'll go back the opposite direction and make finishing cuts to make it diced. When you get to the end, simply cut up the remaining piece so it's not wasted. As for the tomatoes, we can go ahead and cut them into slices and do the same pattern to make small dices. Be sure to use a sharp knife when cutting tomatoes, as using a dull knife would fail to pierce the skin of the tomato and end up rather smashing it or end up cutting yourself, so be careful. Now that everything's been chopped for the most part, we're going to toss everything into a nice large bowl. Before we mix it though, we have one more thing to add, and that is cilantro. Cilantro is great to use in any Spanish style cooking, but something you may not know is that around 4 to 14% of the population actually has the genes that enhance the sense to a certain chemical in cilantro that makes it taste kind of like cleaner. So in short, cilantro tastes like soap for those with it. So if you hate cilantro and you think it tastes weird, that might be why. Now that everything is cut, we can go ahead and add our seasonings. First thing we're going to add is 1 tablespoon of minced garlic. Then we season with salt. I would recommend about 2 teaspoons, but feel free to add more if you prefer it. Black pepper, roughly 1 teaspoon. And lastly, we have one more item, a lime. When using a lime for its juices, try to roll it on a counter or a cutting board first and apply liberal pressure to release all those little pockets of juice that are held together by the meat inside. Cut it in half and squeeze the juice out of the lime into your mixture. Remember to save that other half later. We'll need it for the pork. Now mix up your pico de gallo and make sure to fully incorporate all the seasonings, garlic, jalapenos, so no one ends up getting a weird bite. Now that it's done, we're going to cover this bowl and we're going to set it aside to let all those flavors get to know each other, and we're going to start on the pork. Alright, first thing we're going to need for the pork is 1 onion sliced and sauteed. We will only need 1 small onion, but mine are all large, so I'm only going to use half. We'll clean the onions similar to the red onion we did for the pico, except when we cut it, the initial cut will go all the way through, creating slices. Now, we saute the onions on medium heat with 2 tablespoons of butter and a pinch of salt and sugar for caramelization. While the onions are working, we're going to work on the pork. Since the pork has already been cooked and seasoned, half the work is already done. The only thing we're going to add is the juice of half a lime, 2 cloves of minced garlic, and 2 tablespoons of chili powder. Stir it up and bring it over to the onions. Now that the onions are starting to caramelize, we can go ahead and add the pork to the pan with the onions. Once the pork is hot and most of the juice is cooked out of it, we can take it off the heat and start our tortillas. For any kind of taco, I prefer to use white corn tortillas, but they require toasting. So let's start with a small saute pan, medium to high heat, and some oil. I use a spray oil to make sure the pan is properly coated and prevent a large pool of oil soaking into the tortilla. Once the pan is hot, you can smack the tortilla into the pan, carefully hold down the edges so it flattens out, and I would recommend using a spatula, but since I've burned my hands so many times, I can handle the heat. Once the tortilla starts to puff up on that side, give it a flip and let it toast a little on the other side. Repeat this as many times as you want tacos. Alright, now that everything is ready, we can build our tacos. First we're going to start with our shells, then meat, pico, and then I have some queso fresco, which is Mexican crumbling cheese. When building your taco, you'll have two sides to your shell. Use the side that was oiled as the inside. This will help avoid having a taco shell that gets wet and soggy. Add the meat and pico. There's no rules here, so have as much as you like and have no regrets. It is taco night after all. Now for the queso fresco. You don't need to cut it because like I said before, it's a crumbling cheese. So go ahead and break off a corner, pinch it slightly, and cover your tacos with that cheesy goodness. To finish, top them with some more chopped cilantro and enjoy. And there you have it, taco night out of leftover pulled pork. Hope you guys enjoyed. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and let me know if there's anything you'd like to see me make or would like me to make. Remember to have a fantastic day, and I will see you guys in the next Gamer's Guide.